Hi everyone, we're going to work on 2.4 homework, which is about circles together. I will go over some of the questions of your homework here. So the first one is talking about a circle and it's asking us to state whether the following statement is true or false. So the equation is given and it's saying the center is 3 and -2. Is this right or wrong? So first of all, we know that the um, definition of a circle is the set of all the points that have the same distance from one specific point that we call that center. So all these points have the same distance from the center, and this distance is called r. The equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. H and k are the coordinates of the center and r is the radius. So if I'm given such an equation, I know that I can recognize the center using this pattern. H and k will be the center. So here I have x plus 3. If I look at the original pattern, it would look like this basically. It was x minus -3, and negative and negative make this positive. So that means this is my h. And here if I have y minus 2, obviously the k value is -2. So the center will be -3 and -2. And this is not right. Okay, next question is asking us to find the center and radius from this graph and write the standard form of the equation. So obviously the center is here at 2 and 1, and the radius is the distance of center to this point or any of other points like this. These are all radius. So I can just obviously see that the radius is r. Now the standard form is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. So I can write x minus 2 plus y minus 1 equal to 2 squared, which is 4. So that's the equation. Next question is asking us to write the standard form and the general form of the equation. So we know that the standard form is just x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. But what is general form? The general form is x squared plus ax plus, or sorry, I'm going to rewrite that, x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c equal to 0. So this is the general form and this one is the standard form. So I'm going to start with standard form. X minus, I'm going to plug in the x of the center, which is 0, plus y minus the y value of the center, that's k2 squared, is equal to r squared, which is 4. Now I'm going to write it as the general form. So in order to write the general form, I need to expand each of these two parentheses. So x minus 0 squared is basically just x squared because 0 doesn't count. So that's x squared. Y minus 2 squared, I'm going to write that here. Y minus 2 times minus 2. That's basically y minus 2 squared. Now distribute y squared minus 2y minus another 2y plus 4, which if I combine these two, it's going to be -4y. So I'm going to rewrite plus y squared minus 4y plus 4 equal to 4. Now simplify, I see that this 4 and this 4 on both sides, they cancel each other. So the equation which look like x squared plus y squared minus 4y equal to 0. Again, for this question, it's asking us to write the standard form and the general form of the equation. So it's going to be the same, but with a very small difference about the r. So I'm going to start with writing the standard form, which is x minus x of the center squared plus y minus y of the center, which is -4. So y minus -4 makes it +4. So I have this. And on the other side, I have square root of 5 to the power of 2. Square root of 5 to the power of 2 is just equal to 5 because the power of 2 and the square root cancel each other. So that's my standard form of the equation. Now for general form, I'm going to expand each of these and then simplify. So x minus 1 squared is x minus 1 times itself. So x squared minus 1 squared, another, I'm going to write, I'm sorry, minus x. X times -1 is -x. -1 times x is -x. -1 times -1 is +1. Now, y plus 4 times itself. Y squared plus 4y plus 4y plus 16. And on the other side, I have 5. Now I'm going to simplify. I have x squared. Then I'm going to write the y squared because that's how the general form is. And then combine the x's together, -2x. Now combine these y's together, 8y, and combine these two numbers, which is 17 equal to 5. Now move the 5 to the left side. So I will have x squared plus y squared minus 2x plus 8y minus 12, plus 12, because if I subtract 5 from both sides, this will be 12 equal to 0. So this is the general form of the equation. Okay, this question, which is question number 6, is asking me to find the center and the radius of the circle and graph it and then find the x-intercepts if there is any. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first. The equation is not in general form or the standard form because I have a coefficient of 2 here and here. So I'm going to get rid of that first. So in order to do that, I'm going to divide everything by 2. So this way, these coefficients are going to cancel because I don't need any coefficient behind x and y if I want to write in the standard form. And a standard form is the only way that we can easily find the center and the radius. Okay, so from here, I know that the h of the center, that means x of center is 5, and the k of the center is 0, because this was basically y minus 0. And the radius is the square root of 4, which is 2. Okay, now I can easily graph the function. So let's say this is my coordinate plane at 5 and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 0. This is my center, and radius is 2. So that means something like this is going to be my circle. Now it's asking us to find the intercepts. So we have x-intercept and y-intercept. Let's see how we can find those two. Okay, in order to find the x-intercept, we know that y should be equal to 0. X-intercept is where the graph is crossing the x, and like that's these 2 points. So I can find x-intercept by setting the y equal to 0. Well, if you have the graph already, if you have an accurate graph, you can already see that the x-intercept is here at 3, and the other x-intercept is here at, because this is 5, 6, 7. So the x-intercept will be 3 and 0. The other one will be 7 and 0. The y-intercept is where the graph is crossing the y-axis, that is where x is equal to 0. However, I don't see that here. The graph is not crossing the y-axis, so there is no y-intercept here. So this is if you want to find the x and y-intercept from the graph. But what if I didn't have the graph? I just wanted to find the x and y-intercept from the equation. So this is how you find x and y-intercept from the equation. In order to find x-intercept, you're going to set the y equal to 0, plug that here, and solve for x. So I will have x minus 5 squared plus 0 squared equal to 4. That means x minus 5 squared is equal to 4. Now I take the square root of both sides, and x minus 5 will be positive square root of 4, which is 2, and will be negative square root of 5, which is negative 2. So if I solve for x is 7 here, and this one, if I add 5 to both sides, x will be 3. And you see those are the same values that I found on the graph. So 7 and 0 and 3 and 0 are my x-intercept. Now, how do I find the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, you're going to set the x equal to 0 into the equation and solve for y. So the equation is going to look like 0 minus 5 squared plus y squared equal to 4. Okay, let's see. Negative 5 squared will be 25 plus y squared equal to 4. I subtract 25 from both sides, and y squared is equal to negative 21. And you know that this is not possible if I want to take the square root. We don't have a square root of negative 1, and the radical cannot be negative 1. So that means there is no y-intercept here. Okay, next question. We have a circle that the equation is x squared plus y squared minus 3x plus 6y plus 9 equal to 0. This is the general form. That's question number 8. It's asking us to find x and k, the center, which is h and k, and the radius. Obviously, from the general form, I cannot find the center and radius directly. I have to change it to standard form. So how do I do that? I need to change it to this form. I need to change it as x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. That means I need to have perfect squares of x and y here. How do I do that? So this is the steps that we need to do. So you're going to write x squared and write 3x next to that, negative 3x. I'm going to leave a space here, and then y squared. So write the y's together and the x's together. Plus, and this 9, I'm going to move it to the other side. This is the first step. Now, next one, I want to make a perfect square out of this and out of this. So they look like x minus something is squared, or y minus something is squared. So what is the number that I need to add here? That is the p-value. This is the p-value divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. So it's going to be 9 over 4. So I have to add 9 over 4 here. And same here. P-value is 6 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. So that's going to be 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to add 9 here. Okay, once I have this form, now I'm going to change them to perfect squares. And I don't forget that if I added 9 fourths, and the 9 here, I have to add that to the other side as well. So I'm going to write plus 9/4 plus 9, and I will calculate them later. Okay, so first let's look at this one. How do I make this a perfect square in this way? Just write the square root of this, which is x, square root of this term, which is 3 over 2. And whatever is this sign, just copy that here. That's the first one. The second one, square root of y squared is y, square root of 9 is 3. And just take the sign and bring that down here. So this to the power of 2. This is the left side. Now, what is the right side? We have negative 9 plus 9 over 4 plus 9. I'm going to simplify this. These two cancel, and I have 9 over 4 on the right side. So what is the center of the circle? It's going to be 3 over 2 and negative 3. What is the radius? That's square root of 9 over 4, because we know in the standard form, the right side is r squared. So I need to take the square root of that, which is 3 over 2, and that's my radius. Now, it's asking us to find the intercepts. So let's look at the equation again. I can directly use this one, or even this one, doesn't matter. Both of them work if you want to use the equations to find the x and y intercept. So in order to find the x-intercept, I will set the y equal to 0. I'm going to use this one. So I will have x squared plus y squared is 0 minus 3x plus 6 times 0 is 0 because this y is 0 plus 9. Okay. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 9 equal to 0. I'm going to solve this. I can factor them, two numbers that add up to negative 3 and multiply to 9. And I see that there are no two numbers that can add up to negative 3 and multiply to 9. I can even try the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus and minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now, if I find that number, it's going to be a negative b is going to be 3 plus and minus b squared is 9 minus 4 times 1, that's your a, times c, which is 9, over 2 times a, which is 2. Now, on the radical, this will be 36. 4 minus 36 is a negative number. So if on the radical is negative, that means we cannot solve this equation. So there is no solution for this. That means there is no x-intercept. Okay, so we don't have any x-intercept. Now, I'm going to find the y-intercept. This time, I'm going to use this formula. So let me erase this. So I want you to see both ways. You may use both of them, and either of them is right. Okay, so this time to find the y-intercept, I'm going to set the x equal to 0. I'm going to plug that here. So the equation will look like x minus 3 over 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equal to 9 over 4. Well, this part to the power of 2 will be 9 over 4 plus y plus 3 squared equal to 9 over 4. Okay, these two cancel. So y plus 3 squared is equal to 0. Now I take the square root of both. Y plus 3 will be equal to 0 and y equal to negative 3. So the y-intercept will be 0 and negative 3. Okay, now for question number 9, it's asking me to write the standard form of the equation that has the following properties. The center is at the origin, so if I want to write the equation, it's going to be x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared. The center is 0 and 0. And then r squared. I don't know what is r. All I know is that there's one point on the graph of the center, I'm sorry, of the circle. So if this is my circle, there's one point here, which is negative 9 and 6. Well, if this is a point on the circle, that means if I plug that here in my equation, it's going to match. So I'm just going to plug them here. So x is negative 9 and 6 is the y value. So let's plug that here. I have Of course, these zeros don't count. X squared plus y squared equal to r squared. This is the simplified form of my equation. Plug -9, so -9 squared plus 6, plug that here instead of y. That's going to be -9 squared is 81, 6 squared is 36, and it's equal to 111. I'm sorry, 117. This is my r squared. Now, what is r? It's just going to be square root of 117. So this is how I can find the radius. Now, in order to write the equation, all I can do, x squared plus y squared equal to, and r squared is going to replace here, which is 117. So that's the equation of my. Okay, for this question, we have equation of two circles, and it's asking us to find the equation of a line that basically is connecting the two centers of these two. So let's say this is my first circle, this is the second one. They have centers. If we connect them together, what is the equation of this line? Okay, so I'm going to start with, first of all, writing these two equations in a standard. Okay, so I need to make perfect squares out of them. The first one, x squared minus 2x, and I'm going to leave a space here, plus y squared plus 12y, a space here, and this 1, I'm going to move it to the other side. What is the number that should be added here? That's the b value divided by 2 raised to the power of 2, and that's 1. So 1 I added here. At the same time, I'm adding that to the other side as well. Next one, what is going to be added here? The b value divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. That's 6 squared, 36. So I added 36 to the other side as well. Now, make a perfect square out of each group. So the perfect square of this one will be square root of this, square root of this, and this sign is going to come here. So this is the first one. Second one, square root of y squared is y, square root of 36 is 6, and whatever is this sign, just copy that here. These two cancel on the right side, and that's equal to 36. Okay, so I know that the center of the circle is at 1 and -6. I'm going to keep that here. Now the second one, x squared plus 12x, leave a space here, y squared plus 2y plus 2y, leave a space here, and move this 36 to the other side, -36. What will be added here? Half of this to the power of 2, b divided by 2 raised to the power of 2, that's 36. So I'm going to copy a 36 here as well. Half of 2 is 1 to the power of 2 is 1. So add that here as well. Okay, now make a perfect square out of this one. Square root of x squared, square root of 36 is 6, and this sign is going to be copied here. Next one, square root of y, square root of 1 is 1, and the sign is plus here. These two cancel, and there's only a 1 here. Now the center of this circle is -6 and -1. Now I just need to find the equation of a line that is passing through these 2 points. We know that in order to write the equation, first we need to know the slope. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let me call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So this will be -1 minus -6 over -6 minus 1. So -1 plus 6 is 5, -6 minus 1 is -7. This is the slope of the line. Now, what is the equation? the equation of the line will be y minus y1 equal to mx minus x1. Okay, so y minus y1 is -6, so y minus -6 is plus 6 equal to m is 5 over 7 negative, and x minus x1, which is 1. This is the equation. I'm going to leave the simplifying this for you, so you can simplify and write the simplified form here as your answer, because the question here is asking you to simplify the answer. The next question is asking us that if a circle of radius 6 rolls along the x-axis in quadrants 1 and 2, what is an equation for the path of the center of the circle? So here I'm going to draw the coordinate plane first. And there is a circle that the radius is 6, and it's basically rolling along the x-axis. That means, let me draw a circle here for you, something like this. Okay, the radius is 6. That means this distance is 6. Now, if I roll this along the x-axis, that means this is going to happen. Give me a second. Let me copy this for you. Okay. So this circle is rolling and rolling and rolling like this. I'm going to draw another one for you. Again, rolling. So if it's rolling along the x-axis, always the center is going to be on this line. It's always going to be on this line. And always the distance of the line from the x-axis is 6, because that's the radius of the circle. So equation of the path of the center of the circle will be this line. As you see, it's a horizontal line. So the equation should look like y equal to something. What is that something? That's 6, the radius, because the distance from the x-axis is 6, and that's the y value. So that's the equation. Question number 12. A Ferris wheel has a maximum height of 270. And the wall diameter is 250. So let me just draw the situation here. This is my Ferris wheel, and it has a height of 270. That means if this is the ground, the Ferris wheel has a height of 270. So this distance is 270. And the diameter of the wheel is 250. So this is 250. Well, if the whole height is 270, that means this line over here will be 20. So this bottom part is 20, and this is 250. Well, obviously, I know from the first point that the R will be 270, 250, 250 divided by 2. So that's going to be 125. So for now, I know R is 125. What is the next thing that I need to know? I need to know the center. It says find an equation for the wheel if the center of the wheel is on the y-axis. So I'm going to draw the y-axis here for you. If the center is on the y-axis, it's going to look like this. And the x-axis is on the ground. Okay, I just need to find the center. For sure, I know the x of the center is 0 because it's on the y-axis. What is the y of the center? Well, I need to find this distance. I know this part is 125. What is this one? We figured out that it was 20 because the height was 270, diameter is 250, so the rest of that is 20. So that means this distance will be 125 plus 20, which is 145. Now I know the center and the radius, and we can write the equation of the circle. I'm going to leave the rest for you to solve. Okay, first of all, on this question, we need to know what is a tangent line. The tangent line is a line that intersects the circle in a single point called the point of tangency. So this line is a tangent line. It's crossing the circle at one point over here. Now, it's asking us to find the standard form of the equation of a circle with the center at 3 and negative 1. So let me start with this. I'm going to graph the circle that the center is at negative 3 and 1, 1, 2, negative 3 and 1, almost here. And that is tangent to the y-axis. What does that mean? It's tangent to the y-axis. That means it's something like this. The y-axis is touching the circle at one point here. Okay, now I want to write the equation. For sure, I know the center, so it's x minus negative 3. That's going to make it plus 3. And then y minus 1. Now I just need to find the radius. What is the radius? That's this distance. What is this distance? That's the x value of the center, basically this distance from here to here, because this point is negative 3 and 1. So the horizontal distance from the center is the radius here. So 3, negative 3 squared. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't need to write negative 3. I'm just going to write 3 because I'm talking about the distance, not the direction. So 3 squared, which is 9. So that's your equation. Okay, next question, number 14. The Greek method for finding the equation of a tangent line to a circle uses the fact that any point on the circle, the lines containing the center and the tangent line are perpendicular. What does this mean? This means if I have a circle here, let me draw a circle. Let's say this is my circle. Any point which is tangent, which is on the circle, if I draw a tangent line to that point, this line is perpendicular to the radius. Radius is the line that is connecting the center to this point. So always a tangent line is perpendicular to the radius, which is touching the tangency point. So this is perpendicular. That's the idea behind this. Now, this is asking us use this method to find an equation of the tangent line to this circle at the point 2 and 5. So this point is 2 and square root of 5. The circle has a center at 0 and 0. And the radius is 3. This line is radius is 3. Okay, the first thing that I know here is that if two lines are perpendicular to each other, their slope are going to be reciprocal and opposite sign. That means if the slope of this line is m, this one will be negative 1 over m. So let's start finding this slope because I have 2 points of this line. The slope will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x. Okay, I'm going to call this x2 y2 and this one x1 y1. So that's root 5 minus 0 over 2 minus 0, which is root 5 over 2. That's the slope of this line. Now, oh, this was m, not 3. I'm sorry. Now, the slope of the tangent line. Slope of tangent line is -1 over m. That means it's going to be flip this 2 over root 5 and negative. Okay, I have the slope. Now I'm ready to write the equation. How do I write the equation? Y minus y1 equal to mx minus x1. Y minus, I'm going to write these two as my x1, y1 because that's the line, that's the point that is crossing, it's located on this line. I need to use that. Y1 is root 5 equal to m is -2 over root 5 x minus 2. Okay, and next you just need to simplify this. Okay, let's start simplifying. First, distribute these two. So y minus root 5 equal to -2 over root 5. However, I forgot something. We always prefer to rationalize. If you have a number that has a radical in the denominator, we always prefer to rationalize that. I forgot to do that earlier. So you multiply top and the bottom by the square root in the bottom. So this will be -2 root 5 over root 5. So I'm going to change these two and this one. -2 root 5 over 5, not root 5. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. Now I'm going to distribute. So I will have -2 root 5 over 5 times x. And then multiply by this one. That's going to be positive 4 root 5 over 5. Now move this to the other side. So I will have y equal to -2 root 5 over 5 times x plus 4 root 5 over 5 minus root 5. So let's find this one. First of all, because I have a fraction, I want to combine these two. I'm going to put a denominator of 1 to make it the same denominator, multiply top and the bottom by 5. So I will have this y equal to -2 root 5 over 5 plus 4 root 5 minus 5 root 5 over 5. Because they have the same denominator, you keep the denominator and just combine the top. Okay, so 4 root 5 minus 5 root 5 will be just -1 root 5. It's just 4 apple minus 5 apple. Okay, or 4x minus 5x. So it's going to be -1x over 5 plus -2 root 5 x. I forgot the x here, and here you go. This is the equation of the line. Okay, I think the rest of the questions are easy for you to solve. I just did go over the main ones. I hope it was helpful. Have a great day.